It was just past 9 a.m. when Richard Cole, disguised in a worn blue polo and khakis, slipped into the employee entrance of one of the many supermarkets he owned. To the world, Richard was the CEO of Harvest Mart, a billion-dollar retail chain stretching across states. But to his employees today, he was just Rick, a new transfer from another store. Every quarter, Richard went undercover, posing as a new hire to walk the floors of his stores, not to catch people doing wrong, but to remember why he started the company in the first place. That morning, the store hummed with the rhythm of a typical Tuesday. The scent of fresh bread wafted from the bakery. Shopping carts clattered. Overhead announcements played on a loop. But something felt off. At exactly 10:47 a.m., as Richard was restocking the frozen vegetables aisle, he noticed Emily, a young woman who had just joined as a cashier the week prior, rush past him toward the break room. Her face was pale. Her eyes brimming with tears. No one else seemed to notice. Something tugged at him. Emily had been trying to stay strong all morning. She needed this job, desperately. It was her first one since her mom passed just 2 months ago, leaving Emily to raise her 6-year-old brother alone. Rent was due. The power bill was overdue. And this morning, her babysitter had called out, forcing her to leave her brother with a neighbor who was already stretched thin. Just an hour into her shift, she'd made a simple mistake: she forgot to scan an item before bagging it. The customer snapped. Her manager frowned. The embarrassment piled on top of her grief and exhaustion. In the break room, behind a vending machine and beside an old microwave, Emily broke down, shoulders shaking, mouth pressed to her hands so no one would hear. That's when Rick knocked. I'm sorry, she said, wiping her tears. I just need a minute. I'll be back. I promise. But he didn't leave. Take all the time you need, he said gently. Want to talk? Emily looked up, startled, not by his question, but by the kindness in his tone. She'd met so many people recently who had looked through her. But this man, he saw her. With trembling hands, she shared her story, of losing her mom to cancer, of taking custody of her brother, of applying for dozens of jobs and finally landing this one, only to feel like she was failing at it already. She ended with a whisper. I don't know if I'm strong enough to do this alone. Richard's throat tightened. He'd built a company meant to serve communities, but it was stories like Emily's that reminded him who his community really was. I lost my mom young too, he said softly. My dad worked 3 jobs just to keep food on the table. I know it feels like the weight of the world is on you. But I also know, you're stronger than you think. Emily blinked, surprised. This wasn't just a coworker making small talk. This felt real. He smiled and reached into his wallet, pulling out a business card, not the usual kind, but one that bore a simple Harvest Mart logo, and a direct number to the corporate office. If you ever need anything, childcare help, adjusted hours, emergency support, call this number. Tell them Rick said it's urgent. She stared at it. Why would they help me? He hesitated for a breath, then said gently. Because I run this place. The next day, Emily walked into work to find her manager waiting with a letter. It granted her a temporary childcare stipend, adjusted hours for school pickups, and access to a grief counselor, fully covered. And taped to her locker was a handwritten note. You're not alone. And you never will be again. Rick. Months later, Emily stood on a stage at Harvest Mart's annual conference. She wore a simple navy dress and held her little brother's hand. Richard stood beside her, not as a CEO, but as a friend. She told her story to the crowd, about struggle, shame, resilience, and the moment a stranger's compassion lit a path forward. Tears flowed in the audience. Because it wasn't just about one girl in one store. It was about all the people we walk past each day, never knowing how close they are to breaking. Or how close we are to helping them heal. In a world where most people walk by, be the one who stops. Because sometimes, the smallest kindness changes everything.